Good afternoon, friends. I think it's the day that we see if this thing will actually run. Now, I have this S&S Super E carburetor, and it was pretty dirty, so I pulled it apart and I threw it in the ultrasonic cleaner for an hour, and I got it cleaned up pretty well. And as you can see, I mean, it looks fairly nice, and the outside doesn't determine what the inside looks like, but the inside was pretty gross. This thing had sat with fuel in it for a long time. So the plan is today to go ahead and get this thing bolted onto the engine, grab the fuel bag, hang that from the handlebars, throw some fresh fuel in this thing, and see if we can get this thing to start. You know, the hope is to get it to start, listen to it run, kind of see how the engine sounds, maybe how it performs, you know, just on the lift here. You know, I know I'm dealing with some compression issues, and I want to figure that out. I mean, the rings could be stuck, the valves could be stuck, everything could be stuck. I know it's been sitting for a long time. I'm sure this thing's going to leak a ton of oil. So I guess we'll find out. We'll see what it does. So stay tuned. Follow along. Got the carburetor in place. I have the throttle cable hooked up and adjusted properly. I do want to put on the backing plate so I can get the enricher able to stay in place. So I'm going to put that on next. Now that I have the backing plate installed, I'm going to go ahead and grab my fuel bottle. I'll put a little fuel in that and hook it up to the carburetor. Alright, as you can see, I've opened the garage door here. In case this thing does happen to start running and it doesn't make a giant smoke-filled room, I do expect this thing to smoke a little bit. They kind of always do when they haven't run for a long time. Obviously, as you can see, I've got the carburetor in place. I've got that backing plate installed so that way I can use the fuel enricher. I also have a can of ether I'm going to grab real quick just in case this thing won't start. I do have my fuel bottle strapped in place here and hooked up to the carburetor. I am running ethanol-free rec fuel, is what they call it. I usually run this thing in old carburetors, things that haven't ran in a long time, just trying to keep the gas or the fuel as clean as possible going into the carburetor. Hopefully that helps it to run. So let's get the ether and we'll give this thing a shot. Alright, back after it. I had to go ahead and remove the carburetor again, tear it all back apart, clean everything one more time because unfortunately the float was stuck and it wouldn't actually seat all the way. I don't think the float technically floats the way that it should, so I did end up bending that tab to raise it up quite a bit. So I believe I've got the fuel float working properly and it's shutting off like it should. I know if I twist the throttle I'm getting a squirt of fuel down the throat here, so in my mind that's a good sign. I guess that's it. Moment of truth, right? We'll turn the key on and hit the button and see if we can get this thing to start. Do have my enricher on. Got a good squirt there. Let's see if she'll fire. Well, it's not perfect, but it runs. It seems to run pretty good. Now again, I know that the valves probably are maybe a little stuck and the piston rings are probably a little stuck and it's going to need a couple heat cycles to build that compression back up if it's going to come back. But it's good to hear it run, that's for sure. Obviously the idle's not right yet, so we'll have to adjust that. Not sure if it's getting the right amount of fuel. I mean, obviously we're feeding it off a bottle here and there are some issues with the carburetor still. It is clean for the most part, but I'm sure it could use an even better cleaning. I'd like to strip this thing down, throw it in the ultrasonic probably another hour, and let everything just kind of boil out, vibrate out, and get cleaned up all the way. Anyway guys, this was the goal today. It was to get this thing to start and run, and man, It was good to hear, that's for sure. I do love these pipes on the FXRs. They give it a great sound, and this bike sounds amazing, honestly. So I feel it's a good engine. I feel like it's a good motor to, you know, do something else with. It's not going to stay in this bike. I am going to take this thing apart and part this thing out, just because there's so much that is not correct with this motorcycle, and so much that it can't prove. You know, I don't know that it has 18,000 miles. Obviously, with a replacement set of cases, it doesn't. It does have Harley Davidson cylinders and heads. It looks like the internals, as far as the flywheels, are Harley Davidson as well, just based on the timing mark that I saw. I'm not sure what the lift and duration is of the cam or anything like that, but it sounds pretty healthy. Well guys, that's it for today. I wanted to bring you through the process of getting this thing running, have you guys hear it along with me. So I thank you guys for following along. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. You know, I'm trying to gain all the subscriptions I can get. If you have subscribed and your friends haven't subscribed and they like this type of content, please feel free to share these videos with them. Share them on all your social media platforms. And of course, if you're looking for more of my content, I am on Facebook, Instagram, and eBay, where I sell all my parts. They're all under Rocky's Chop Shop, so check me out. As always, friends, I thank you. We'll catch you next time.